a chat. Amazing set of cars you've been showing me this morning. How did you get involved in the sport in the first place?
Well, that's a question I get asked all the time, to be fair. And it's the Roger Clark, Chris Searle TV programme when they did the RSC rally. We were in at the Dean Pen.
That's right.
And I sat and watched it, and it just inspired me. And honestly, when you watch youngsters now who come in and say they like cars, but I've had nothing to do with them, that programme started my journey, and it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I remember watching it, and I don't know how many times I've watched it. It was fantastic. And it's the fact that Roger didn't actually kill him in the end was quite an amazing bit, because there did look to be some tension in the car.
Yeah, but you've done it, haven't you? So when I've got a navigator who's on it, it's brilliant. As soon as you've got one that it frustrates you, because you want to do well for you and for them. And so I can put myself in that position, really. Yeah,
I agree. So that was watching, but competing is a different thing. So how do you make the leap into the driver's seat?
Well, this links. So nowadays you watch Chris Searle, and the first thing you do if you want to join a motor club, click, 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 and you find it within 2 minutes. I came off the programme, 81, so what would it be? 15-year-old or whatever when it were on. Went online, didn't go online, went through the phone book trying to find some link to a motor club, couldn't do it. My parents were good out of the library, there'll be something, and I found Shipley Motor Club. Wrote a letter, that's a rarity, isn't it? Sat and wrote a letter, fired it off, and about a week later it came back saying, yeah, you're too young to be in the environment, but we've got some dispensation, come and join us. So then you're surrounded by people who do motorsport, so you start by marshalling, so we're a paddock marshal at Airwood, did rallying, so always in Forest. I think my first rally with the 81 Mintex, Harry Vartman in the shell car, and it's like stepping stones, isn't it? Before you know it, you're off.
Yeah, the problem is you then get addicted and hooked, and then...
So I've got no money.
For 45 years later, you're still doing it. You're known as a mini-man. I mean, I know you've done lots of different disciplines, but the difference between circuit racing and rallying, two different distinct driving styles.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that?
Well, one of them you're on your own, other one you've got somebody whittering at you, telling you where to go. When you're on a circuit, you turn right, you say, oh, we've got to go left here. And in rallying, it's a completely different thing. And what I find, even though I go with my mates racing, it's very insular, it's about you, clock. And then obviously once you've qualified your racing, what I find with rallying, I feel like it's a team. So there's you and your navigator, you've got your service crew somewhere 20 or 30 mile away, and you're all involved. You might go and do well behind wheel, but it's down to the navigator, it's down to them keeping you going. If I'll be honest with you, I prefer team things. I like being part of something. Even though racing's like that, I've always preferred two driver events. So like Sam Tordoff joins us and things like that. So it's very different driving styles, but both the same goal, isn't it? It's you against the clock.
So Andy, tell me about the Allegro.
The Relic. I've owned the car twice, so that's where the story really unfolds. And I sold the car back in 1988. In 87, my daughter's mother came home one day and said she was expecting. I'm a 20-year-old kid, I'm just living a life, and all of a sudden I'm going to be a dad. And your natural reaction in them days, it's probably different to today, where right, motorsport stops, we've got to sell the car. And I put the car in Motor News. You remember when you used to sell stuff in Motor News? And I sold it to a lad, and we put it on the trailer, off it went, waved bye-bye. Biggest regret of my life. And fast forward, daughter's 38, probably 35 years, and I started hearing it was about, but a lot had happened to it. It had fallen off a trailer, it had become a relic, and had a note to it, to what I originally sold it for, and we ended up buying it back.
So I saw it at Goodwood.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to explain to people who don't get this, but why would you take a knackered 50-year-old car with no floor in it, knackered roof, and take it to Goodwood, and explain the kind of response you had from people?
People ask. So me personally, I'd think, no, I can't take it. But you get asked, will you bring it along, let people see it? It was the only one they ever made, don't forget. It was an original press car that they then threw at special tuning and said, right, build a rally car out of that. And Russell Brooks drove it. It was Russell Brooks' first works drive. Didn't speak kindly of it when I spoke about it in future years. But because people ask, I will take it. But I always respond by saying, you really want me to bring it? Because it comes on a trailer and there's not a lot of floor in it. I took it to Abingdon for the 70-year celebration, and it took car of the show, the car with most interest. You can't believe it, can you? You've seen it. But the amount of people who come to ask about it, talk about it. I had original builders, original wiring guy. Basil Wales's widow came along. You know, it was incredible was the response. Rebuild. So everybody keeps saying, oh, you're going to reshell it. I've just had 2 fabricators come along. We know we can rebuild that car. Because as usual, and you're more aware of this than anybody, you get something that looks like that, you've got to look skin deep. And the actual skeleton of the car is still there. And it's very little damage to it. What's happened is, because it hasn't gone end over end, it's literally dropped off a trailer on its roof and stopped. It's not done what I call a destruction. So, yeah, it's going to need all the front end, all the chassis legs, all the inner wings. We're going to need a full floor tunnel and inner sills. But the bulkheads and the inner roof and all the inner structure has survived. And we're going to bring it back to life.
And what are you going to do with it?
Take it back to Goodwood. So the promise was, we've missed it this year, but I wanted to take it 50 years after it was built for the 75 RSC Rally. We've missed it. But we've told Goodwood we'll have it. We're reckoning it'll be 2 years. We reckon 2027 we'll be throwing it down Forest Stage there. So that's going to be its launch. We want to finish it and then take the team to Goodwood, and that's where we'll get the press and we'll get them there. And we hope to have Mike Nicholson. Unfortunately, as you know, he passed away. He did tell me he'd never sit in it again, but I think I could have persuaded him. But we've missed that moment. But we're going to get the Jersey politician Pat Ryan, who drove it in 1975, we're going to get him to drive it down the rally stage. So
that'll be special, won't it?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And I said before, revival in historic cars is phenomenal. I mean, Goodwood itself it's a really special place, isn't it? I mean, people coming from across the world with some amazing bits of kit.
Do you know what it is? You get off the world for a while. So when you arrive on the Wednesday, it's like somebody's parked the world for 5 days, and all your worries, all your business pressures, all your home life pressures disappear. And we always say, when you're back in your van coming back up the motorway, you slowly come back on the wheel, don't you? You're back into real life. And that's what Goodwood does. It just gives you this magical escape. It's a step back in time.
Yeah. And I mean, you're very much a hands-on guy. I mean, when I arrived earlier on, just changing a set of pads in an Astra, despite the fact that you've got this amazing sort of collection and heritage. So how do you do the day job and then still have the energy to go out and compete and build and spend all those hours that you're going to need to restore things like the Olympic?
Keeps me young. I just think that's what keeps me going. I've got to be honest with you, I'm 60 years old in a month's time, and I generally think it's the job that keeps me spinning along. There's always the next thing. I'm not one of these that's happy. Once I've done that, what's next? What's next? I'm sure you're like that. I know what you've done. I know your career. There's always the next thing, and it just keeps me going. I don't know when I'll stop. I'm not retiring.
And the very first lap of the first part of the race, but using too much of the runoff area, followed by Olivier Hart and Steve Soper, who also plunged down the order.
about the orange box. I mean, I've had a look around it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know me. One of my main problems is I never fit in it. So, how did you get involved with the car, and tell me some of the successes you've had with it?
The car was simple. I got called by Steve Entwistle, who used to own it, who was really successful in it, very good regularity road rally guy from the past. He'd gone on and won the Historic Rally Car Championship with it, and rang me up and asked me if I'd be interested in buying it. And I've got to be honest, normally these things are quite protracted out there. You've a couple of phone calls, within 5 minutes we did a deal, I transferred the money. The biggest thing is normally people are pestering you to pay. I'd paid him, he was pestering me to pick it up because he was moving out, so we were like too busy to go get it. But a really famous car, Steve had restored it, with help of Mini Sport, they supported him. And then I took over it and carried on where Steve left off, really.
So tell me some of the events you've done.
We did the Manx in 2023. So this is interesting. When in 1963 it went to the Isle of Man and it won the event. And 60 years later we got invited back. We didn't win the event, but we won as class. We came 21st overall, but we were top European. It were a big event. It was part of the Hero Challenge. I'd gone with Henry, my navigator. And I'd taken somebody's place, funny enough. Somebody was doing it and had to pull out. And I said, yeah, let's have a go at it. And before you know it, we turned it into a story. It became the story of the event. And we were doing all right, and we wrong slotted up last day and dropped a load of time, and we really had to push hard to get back to where we were. Ilka Jubilee, the one we only broached the subject yesterday when we were chatting, the Northumberland Rally. That's the bane of my life, is the Northumberland Rally. I so want to win that event.
Yeah, no, I did the. I started the RSC Rally in '86, and we retired on the third stage, which was devastating.
It is.
And to go back, we went back and did the 2019 Roger Albert, and that was like concluding that. Get rid of that pain after all those years.
I understand that pain.
Yeah. So you were talking about the team bit. You were talking about, being part of a timeline of a car or a sport.
It's a perfect way of putting it.
Yeah,
timeline, yeah.
And I mean, historic rallying and historic cars, massive resurgence over the last few years. And you've got a business here where you're picking up broken old cars and turning them into, turning back the clock and bringing them back to life. I mean, there must be a huge sense of fulfillment when you get these things, from that broken car back to life.
Do you know what my fulfillment is? I love it when somebody's got a dream. And we've had many people who want to do Goodwood and have achieved it. Many a person wants to do a certain rally, bring me a broken biscuit as we call it, I turn it into something, and they go off and do well in an event. Yeah, I get some achievement from me doing it, but I really love achieving people's dreams.
So you were talking about when you got started in the sport and you went out marshalling. I mean, have you got a message to all those marshals out there on the events and the organisers? Because without that Orange Army, there isn't an event.
I'm an ambassador of the British Marshals Club, so I'm very big on marshals. It just doesn't happen, does it? It's simple. If we turn up, there's not enough marshals. We ain't rallying, we aren't racing. So as you know, I do turn up, and I will do stuff for the local motor clubs. I'll do stuff for the bigger events. If I don't do Goodwood, I always like to try and help out in some way. I'm big on giving back to the sport that's given me, but definitely, I mean, it's a big clap of the hands to marshals, isn't it? I mean, I've been rescued for some pretty big accidents and some pretty silly breakdowns, Many a time I end up in a recovery wagon at one of the circuits, and they go, "Oh, it's handy, he's one of ambassadors for us," and they end up signing programmes and stuff. It just doesn't happen without them. I mean, it's where I started, don't forget.
Yeah. And you were talking about, you've got the phone book out to find a motor club. I mean, these days you can join a club online, and you can do the online marshals training course as well. And it's a good way for people to get involved.
I encourage it. If you're into motorsport, why just sit in your chair watching it? Because I couldn't believe the sense of achievement at my first marshalling event, which was being a paddock lad at Airwood. I was too young to go out on the hill, So I was walking around the paddock waving the drivers out. So when you go home, I was part of it. All of a sudden, I wasn't just spectating, I'm actually involved. And people were saying thank you as you walked out, you know. And I will say to anybody who's watching this, if you're taking part, just take a small amount of time to thank your marshals, either as you're going around the circuit or as you're leaving an event. Always wave, always say thank you. I'm big on that.
No, I think that's a really important message, Andy. I mean, yeah, I've seen quite a few young marshals out, you know, mums and dads bringing their kids on sort of thing into the sport. It's really important that, one, they feel safe and they feel engaged with it. And like you say, I mean, I go marshalling all the time, and it's just such a great buzz as well to make sure that those crews who are competing, you know, have a safe event, and we can help them when we need to as well.
And the big thing about you saying what you've done, and I've seen you at events, so I know you do it, is we understand what it's like to be at the car side. So I understand what it's like to be the marshal, but then when I marshal, I understand what it's like to be in the car when something's gone wrong and you may be a little agitated. It just makes you take that 30 seconds, just breathe, because people are here to help you, they're not here to hurt you.
No, that's really important. And it's good to hear, you know, you talking really positive about the role of marshals. So I was talking to Mike Cowlin about you, and he said, ask him about Italy. And apparently you had some interesting events over there, our accidents.
My interesting story about Italy is I raced for Alfa Romeo in an Alfa Romeo race at Monza. There was two of us sharing a car, so we were the only English/British in the event, and they came from all over the world. It was called the Alfa Cup. And the first driver had done their bit on the Saturday, and then had got a little bit overexcited on Saturday night with drinks, so they slept in on the Sunday. So I threw the suit on, and I'm at the hotel, bear in mind, I'm 5 miles away from the circuit, and I'm getting a bit agitated, and then they come down, they get in the car, forget breakfast, we're late. So I'm going briskly, let's say, when I come round this corner, and there's the police at the side of the road, and obviously I've gone past them at excessive speed, and then he's come out and I've said, we're in trouble. So I've pulled up at the side of the road, and he's tapped on the window with the end of his gun. He's tapping like that, and I've put the window down like that, and I just straight away went English. I had my Alfa Romeo race suit on, and he went, Alfa Romeo? I said, yeah, English, racing at Monza, we're late, hence the speed. You know, you're doing all the hand gestures and shouting loudly. Wait, they put a police escort through to Monza with the lights all blocked off, drove me into the circuit. If you don't know, Monza's inside a park, so we're now inside the park going at excessive speed behind the police car. The only thing he expected me to do was sign his programme as he shook my hand. So we went from being going to be in prison to being heroes, and then we went and came third overall. So,
Brilliant.
But I think that was the rush of blood going through me.
Yeah, after that event, no, that's amazing. And Mike said to me, make sure you ask him about it.
Yeah.
So look, you've done, competing abroad, really great results like that.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your big sense of achievement in the sport?
We went to Sebring in 2003. We took a car where everybody said we wouldn't last 3 hours in a long race. You know, it was a 2-driver, 5 pit stop, 5 refuelling race, and we went with Jackie Oliver. It was part of his entourage, and we arrived on the Thursday to practice, but the other driver went out and the engine let go, so we hadn't gone with spare engines and things like that. So I'm now in Sebring in Florida with a blown up mini engine in a paddock which is sandy, there's no rail facilities. So I ring back here to Mini Spares, which I've got to take me out after I spoke to Rich. He put me in contact with somebody in America, and they sent me all the bits, FedEx. Sebring's an airport, so it landed at the airport, and a truck brought it over, and we fixed the car and got it running, and Jackie Oliver put his head over and went, "Won't last, sunshine." So we put it all back together, went and qualified. Oh, we didn't qualify, we started at the back of the grid. 73 cars, and we came 21st overall and first in class. It was quite emotional. And I've got to say, Jackie Oliver paid our bill. He said, I can't believe that you've achieved that. And if people don't know, Jackie Oliver owned Arrows Formula 1, so he knew what he was talking about. To really achieve that was a big sense of achievement. I've won races, I've done well in this, I've done well in that, but that were from nowhere.